Just replaced some coil packs on Tommy's Honda Odyssey here, and I'm back on this. So, well, let's see, where am I at? It's running well. Hard time getting good cylinder readings on the thing, but that's something. Right now I want to wire in the cooling fan. I got a coolant temp switch. It's holding water, which is great. And I got the coolant temp switch right there. So that grounds out, comes on at, I think, 185 and turns off at 175. Thermostat, I think, is a 180 or something like that. I have no idea. But I'm going to wire this thing in, the fan. I've got one of these Busman fuses. These things are great. So that'll run between there and the battery. And then the ground, I'll just run a wire straight to it over to there. And when that grounds out, it should start the fan up. So the problem I'm having with the clutch, this silly thing, is this clutch rod in here, which you're not going to be able to see crap. But there's a clutch rod in here, and now it's moving freely because I disconnected it completely. But I'm not getting any action out of that new master cylinder, and I was before. I feel like it's an alignment issue, so I need to work with that. But I just had this thing running, so I don't really want to get in there and do it again. I suppose I can fire it up real quick. Yeah. And that rattling puts some fuel to it. There we go, it's got fuel now. I can't tell if it's up here I checked all the rockers, they're okay. But what I can't tell is if it's in the transmission or something. Sure sounds like it to me. Don't know. So I'll figure it out, I guess. But I can at least get the fan wired and test and make sure that that works. Yeah. So that's the plan. This is ground switched. So when this triggers a ground, then it'll close the circuit, which runs the other side of the fan. This is hot all the time. It's got a 30 amp fuse, and I'm running it to here. Now it popped the first fuse that I had, but it was also pretty old. I'm running a 30 amper. I guess we'll just see how that goes. Otherwise I'll switch over to the Busman fuse thing that I apparently ruined. One of these guys. Yeah. I don't know why, but it didn't have the actual nuts that go on here, so I just tried to rethread them and that didn't work. This one started spinning inside. Although it would probably be okay. But whatever. Anywho, I'm going to fiddle around with the clutch linkage again. See if I can get that to do something. It could be that the piston's already all the way out. I don't know. But I'm going to tinker around on that. I got the hot going up to here. So that's all connected, so I should be able to just take this off and ground it. Yep. So that's how that works. And yeah, so that's that. I'll fiddle around with the clutch linkage. I'm feeling a little off today. Happens. So little by little, I'll just keep working at it. Yep. So I replaced the master cylinder and I replaced the slave cylinder. I didn't replace the hard line. And the only reason why is I was hoping I wouldn't have to spend $180,000 freaking dollars on the new hydraulic hose. See how it's weeping fluid? I should be able to pass. So a hydraulic clutch line is just like a hydraulic brake line. It's literally just allowing a column of fluid to go in and out, in and out, in and out. I literally, when I had it connected to the slave, I couldn't get that piston on the inside. That guy right there on the inside. I could not get that to move at all. Now, when I took off the brake bleeder, that piston would move just fine. So the problem is with that line. Unfortunately, what that basically means is I need a new hydraulic line. So brake lines swell, and that's all this is a brake line. And you can see it's got a crack in it as it is. It's not in great shape. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. What I'd like to do is see if I can get that whole thing out in one piece and then take it over to Parker Hose, have them slice in a new section for me and verify that it's clear. It should be clear. It's clearly passing some fluid. But that's the reason why I had a super stiff clutch pedal when I had the whole thing installed. It would go about halfway down and then hard stop. I mean hard stop, to the point where it was really putting stress on the firewall, and you shouldn't have to do that. So my only presumption here is this line is squeezed up on the inside and it's constricted and not allowing fluid to pass back and forth freely. So unfortunately that's going to continue to weep, but I got to take the other part of the line off up above and see what gives. So with any luck I can get that out. I verified that my clutch fork is fine. It's on the throwout bearing and the whole thing does move. It's real stiff, of course, but that explains why it was such a pain to put that in. So kind of like when you compress brake pads, it should be stiff, but it should give. The piston should be able to go back in when you're installing new brake pads on a car after they've been worn for a while. What happens is the piston pushes out and the fluid takes up the difference. Well, when you put fresh pads in, they're much thicker, so the piston inside the brake caliper has to be pushed in to its full inside position, meaning no fluid is actually taking up the volume there. It makes sense more in pictures than it does just talking about it in words, but the idea is the lines are just supposed to be firm enough to hold the amount of pressure that the system is designed for, but it should pass it freely. And so when the entire system is hooked up on this clutch, the slave cylinder is effectively the brake caliper. And if you go in there and you try to press the slave cylinder in, or the brake caliper, but you're not able to actually compress it, that tells you one of two things. One, the actual brake piston inside the caliper, or in this case the piston inside the slave cylinder, is compressed, or excuse me, is rusted inside the body, which that's not the case on this. Or the brake hose is not allowing fluid to travel back. And that's a very common thing if you watch Junkyard Digs or any of the guys who are trying to revive and drive vehicles. You'll see that that's the case. It happens quite a bit on vehicles that have been sitting for a while. Honestly, brake lines in general and any hydraulic hoses, they're just a matter of time before you have to go and replace them. They're considered kind of like a long-term wear item. So, and to that point on this car, I've got brand new brake hoses ready to install should I need them. I'm going to replace them anyway, but I'd rather do that when I do the big brake upgrade on the front, just to spare me a bunch of extra work for no reason. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I gotta get that line off and fun. Yeah, it's hot today. It's like 85, and 2 days ago it was 65. Well, guess what? We're under the car again. So I need to helicoil all of these thread holes, because just the cheap aluminum it's just not good. So I need to just redo that. And I also drained the oil out of this thing already, because I'm going to pull the oil pan and check for a bad rod bearing. I don't have any sparkles or anything in the oil that's coming out, so there's that. Slave cylinder's out as well. The problem with that is I think that the rubber hose in the section of the master to slave cylinder for the clutch, that the rubber is just roached out. It's just not allowing fluid to pass through it properly. Very similar to how a brake line is. I've already talked about that. So anyway, I went to two places. I went to Parker Hose Store. They don't have any hoses that are that diameter, so they couldn't do it. They recommended a shop called Crown Performance, which is in Vista. And so I stopped there, and they told me, yeah, we're not going to be able to work with what you got, and we could come up with a custom solution, but it'll require you bringing the car. And I'm like, well, so I just bit the bullet, and I paid the $180 after taxes and shipping for a brand new replacement line with fresh Goodyear hose in it. Hopefully that rubber's good. We'll find out. Anywho, so that's on the way, and I figured since I'm down for the count on getting the car moving, I may as well go ahead and just tackle these two little projects. So pulling the oil pan, I'm hoping to find a smoking gun loose rod bearing. If I find one that's bad, I'll probably replace all of them. I don't have new ones because I don't know if this engine's been rebuilt and the crank's been turned or not. I have no idea, but I'm hoping to find a smoking gun underneath there. And if I do, then great. I know what to do. Just roll some new rod bearings in and move on with life. It's a small block. It should be okay. Not that I'm God's gift to these cars, but anywho, I'm going to make a mess under here, make it look like I committed some murder, try to salvage this transmission fluid if I can, because I keep burning through it, draining it and emptying it and draining it and emptying it and all that good stuff. So if I can't, it's not the end of the world. I can always just throw it in my truck and that'll run it happily, and just use some fresh stuff. And I'm going to try to fill it the proper way, which is on the passenger side or driver's side with a hose and squeezy lube tube thing and all that good stuff. So anyhow, that's what I'm doing tonight, is just getting this prepped. I'm going to start removing the oil pan bolts. Everything I've read is that it shouldn't be that big a deal to pull the pan while it's in the car. It looks like I'll have room. I know I'm going to try not to remove the starter if I can as well. Although I probably will have to. It's just 2 bolts. It's not the end of the world. And then the oil cooler. This car does have the oil cooler option, so I'll have to remove that coolant line. So it's going to just drain everywhere anyway. Welcome to trying to restore a very, very, well, it's not that old, but a 38-year-old car that has not seen the road in 20 years. This is kind of just what happens, is you just kind of get after it. So, all right, I'll let you know how far I get. Well, things are going fine. Just fine. I ruined my new stainless steel thingy bob. There, I can just leave you like that. At least I don't have to replace the filter or do any of that stuff. I already got that done. So I got 1 bolt in. Look at that fresh goodness. And it was weeping out the bolt holes for sure. Oh, there she goes. And now someone's calling me. My mom. Alright, gents. I'll talk to you later. Well, she's loose. But I don't think I can wiggle it out without jacking up the front of the engine. So I gotta pull the motor mount bolts out and get a jack under here to start lifting it up. Once I do that, it should be good. It's a pain in the butt. You can see that silver pipe running across. These 2 are transmission lines. They all kind of got to get shoved that away to do stuff. That coolant hose is going straight over to the oil cooler, and that hose was roached anyway. It had a big old blister in it, so I knew it was going to be dead. So I just loosened the clamp and cut the bolt, or cut the hose, and it'll just live there until I'm ready to get this put back together. But as you can see, my hands are just flat out nasty. This is like the 5th pair of gloves I've gotten. I don't think I can pull this out. I'm gonna have to get that up in the air a little bit. Plus there's like a brake line underneath that I don't even know if that's supposed to be where it's at, but I don't really want to go poking around. So anywho, that's the plan so far. I've been into this about an hour, including draining the trans fluid and the oil from the thing and getting all the bolts out. So there's 2 13 millimeters on each corner of the pan. There are these nifty like torque load bearing brackets. I'm assuming they're factory. I have no idea if you can even see it, but there's one of these on each side. Those come off. I did remove the starter just to get access to some bolts and just slid it this way. I'm trying to do as minimal disrepair as possible. The front main seal is going to be really fun, but I can get, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so anywho, again, the goal is to get in here, pull the pan out today, maybe clean the pan, see if there's any trash in the bottom of the pan, which I don't think I'm gonna see. But then get under here and wiggle the rod caps and see if there's anything that's a smoking gun. So I'll bring you back for that fiasco when that gets here. Here's the deal. I got both the motor mount bolts out, and that was quite a fight. This one was real easy on this side. The other side was not so much. I think it does not seem like I'm able to lift the engine up, even with both the motor mount bolts out. So I'm just going to do some research and come back at this. It's 9 o'clock. I should probably quit being a complete noob to my neighbors. So, anyway, that's the story for the evening. This is motor oil and it's still good. Yeah, never mind that. Just a leaf. Never hurt anybody. That's what oil filters are for. I'm going to put that on top of this. I'm going to grab the tranny fluid and put it in this bucket. And then put that pan back underneath. Because, no doubt... Ugh, what a mess. What a freaking mess. You know what? No, I'm just starting fresh with this. That fluid. Whatever. Is what it is. It is what it is. So part of the problem is this transmission fluid is slimy. Anywho, yeah, I'm going to get cleaned up and we'll stab at this again tomorrow or another day. Welcome back to Paul is Doing Paul Things. I finally got the oil pan off this pig a couple nights ago and I'm able to get back to it. I pulled the number 1 bearing off already. Just kind of wanted to see what the work was going to be like. I know I look like a dork with this, but I really don't care. So there's the outside of the shells. There's the inside. I'm pretty sure this is the upper shell. It's the one that takes most of the brunt. It's had some trash go through it. It's just number 1. I mean, it's not that big a deal. But I gotta take them all off if I'm gonna re-bearing this, because these are OEM bearings and they're very much custom sized. So I'm going to have to get a set of calipers out and then write down all of the bearing journal sizes and then come up with the bearing based off of that. Sorry, I'm going to get you sick. But if you're going to see what I'm going to see, we got to be lit up. There we go. We got light. Oh! It's like a freaking mass murder under here. Ugh. So, there we are. So number 1's off. I'm going to have to rotate the crank a little bit to get to the rest, but I can get 1 and 2 off. I got to get this whole assembly off. Get those caps off. Yeah, it's just like bloody murder down here. My poor driveway. But yeah, that's the plan. So, I mean, this is not exactly rocket science. I did have to jack one side of the engine up in order to slide the pan out, but I think that was primarily because of, yeah, this crank weight. The crank weight up here. Yeah, that's it. Was down a little bit and blocking the things so that I could pull it out, but yeah, it's not the brightest under here. Let me see if I can make it brighter. No. Oh yeah. That's sure better. I mean, I'm not seeing any smoking guns. Camshaft looks good. But yeah, I'm just going to methodically go through here, mark all the caps and all that stuff, get them put back in the right spot and all that good stuff, and just kind of give it an inspection, take measurements of the crank journals, and see what kind of set I have to buy in order to get this re-bearinged. With all of the camshafts or the rods disconnected, I'm going to see how much end play there is on the crankshaft and see if there's a smoking gun there. That would indicate a worn thrust bearing. But, you know, it looks pretty good under here, honestly. I just can't tell if this has been overhauled or not. I'm not seeing any markings or anything. I mean, there's X's on the caps and stuff, but I'm going to snag some pictures under here for my own reference. I know I got to pull this tray off for sure. That's probably 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/2 inch, and then that bolt, I don't know. I just need to get in here and figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying stuff, basically. I'm just trying stuff. So, yep, that's the plan for tonight. So if I can get those out, I can get those bearings ordered up. It's possible they're in stock at a local store, but who knows? I mean, that looks like a factory oil pump to me. Yeah. Anywho, I'm just delaying the inevitable by laying down and enjoying the ground. See it? You see it? I guess the crank's coming out. Or I gotta pull the passenger side head again. Because number 8 rod is for sure bent. Ugh. 4 is fine. 5 is fine. 7's fine. That surprises me. That's the one I was expecting to be bad. But I think we may have found our problem. I think... Oh, and that one's actually stamped 7. Huh. But I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. Great. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull the head and get a new connecting rod. Oh, well, I mean, that explains it. Yeah, that sucker is bent like a pretzel. I'm gonna give you a little view here. Go around it like that. I'm sure you can see it. Number 8 is bent, which that's no good. And number 7's fine so far. Alright, I'll get the last 2 and we'll go over the autopsy. Alright, so as you saw, I still can't get number 4 out, mainly because I got all the rods disconnected. I was trying to avoid getting up and getting down and all that stuff. But I'm going to be pulling the passenger side cylinder head anyway. So here's the autopsy. So the uppers are going to be on the right when I flip these over. As you can see, definitely worn, probably not awful. I mean, it would have been good enough to keep running. Upper, lower. I just want you to notice the wear pattern on these guys. Notice how all the ones to the left, well, with the exception of this one. Oh, I think I got this one backwards. That was the upper. The uppers have more wear than the lowers. Disregard this. This is me getting in there with a screwdriver trying to pull it out. I knew I was rebearing it anyway, but that's number 1, 2, 3, 4's in the car, 5, 6, 7, sorry about that, and 8. And number 8's the one that has the bent piston rod. So the story is, I've got a good friend who's been parting out these Vettes forever, and I'm going to hit him up and see if he can get me a new connecting rod and piston assembly. I'm going to yank the intake off again, I'm going to yank the passenger side cylinder head out, and I'm going to attempt to shove number 8 up through the top. I already have a ring compressor, so that shouldn't be an issue. And I think that's going to be my short-term solution here, which is just go ahead and replace that bent rod, and I'm almost positive that's where the noise is, because it was kind of stiff turning it over. It's the only way I can describe it. It was a little stiff when I was turning it over with that rod connected. And you can tell because they're not supposed to be S-shaped like that. That's less than ideal. So, I already took the rockers off. Well, the rockers are still attached, but I yeeted all the nuts off of there on all the pistons, so I'll have to set that lash up again, which is not a big deal. I mean, this is all just basic mechanicking work. Is it a lot to do? Yes. Am I stupid still effing around with a small block Chevy short block? Yeah, I'm kind of dumb. When I've got an LS sitting in the garage, it's not quite ready to go in, but it's not in terrible shape. So it's not genius, I suppose, but for me, this is just a learning experience. I just want to get in there. I've never rolled bearings in from the bottom on a car before. I'm going to do it. I'm confident that my crankshaft is good. All the journals look good, so I'm not worried about that. I'll still have to get measurements on those. But I'm going to just presume that once I get measurements on one, well, all of them through, all of them with the exception of 4, that all of them are good. So when I yank off that piston head, or that cylinder head, and I put number 8 in, I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to start connecting all of those rods up until I can crank the engine over with number 4 down so that I can pull that bearing. All the other rods, from what I could see, look fine, but it's just kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'd like to do, unless the connecting rods have their caps on them, it's enough of an interference on the engine that it makes it kind of difficult to rotate the engine over, because you have to get in there, slide all the pistons down onto the crankshaft with no bearing, slowly rotate the thing, get under there again, and because there's no pulling force because the caps are not there, I suppose I could put all the caps on and then do it without the bearings, and that might hold it in place enough. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But I think the primary operation here is to source a new piston and connecting rod with rings, and I don't care that they're used rings. That's actually totally fine. And then just slide a new one in the hole, put it all back together, hope for the best. So, yeah. Remember how I said, find something to do and make sure it's hard and then do it? Yeah, well, here I am doing that very thing. So all these bearings, they all got factory numbers on them, so they're really kind of no good to me. No reason to keep them. The caps are good still, and hopefully the number 8 cap will come with the rod, because that's what I'm going to need in order to get it to sit properly, or to be able to snug up properly. Well, it's not snug. I think it's probably like 60 foot-pounds if I was to guess, but it's a significant number. It took a bit of effort to release those. So anywho, that's where we're at, and now would be a good time to disconnect the battery, since it ain't going to be doing much. Yeah, anyway, get out there, find something to do, and challenge yourself, because it's fun. This is my fun face. It's fun.